What's up, Heat Nation? Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. Now you guys know what I'm going to ask. Smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers, you guys. Thank you so much for everyone that supported the channel. But please, I need all hands on deck. Now, the Miami Heat do have a game tonight against the Golden State Warriors. It's always good to see Steph Curry against the Miami Heat. These games are always a slobber knocker. But tonight should be interesting. Not just because we're playing against Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and those boys, because the game does have significance for both teams. You know, the Golden State Warriors, they're still fighting for the play-in tournament, for the 10th seed. Our Miami Heat team, we're fighting for the 6th spot to get out of the play-in tournament. Every game matters. You got 12 games left in the season. Right now, with Indiana's victory last night, Indiana are 41-32. We're 39-32. We are one game down from the 6th seed. Now, I know with 12 games left, it seems like a lot of time, but you can easily fall out of contention because right now, we're only a half a game above Philadelphia. They're 39-33. So if you lose 2 games, you fall back down to the 8th seed. So the Heat need to treat these games as a must-win situation. Now, I know a lot of people have recently said that the Miami Heat are coasting, that they're resting players like Tyler Hero, Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson, not allowing them to return because they're getting them ready for the playoffs. I think part of that is true. The Heat aren't going to rush injured players to play to further hamper injury. But I don't think the Heat are in a position, you guys, to rest players, to not allow them to play these games since they're must-wins. You know, I know Jimmy Butler missed 2 games recently, but that really wasn't a foot injury that he had. I don't believe it was rest. I think Jimmy just needed some rest. You know, he's 34 years old. That's going to happen at times. And especially he's the guy that we need ready for the playoffs. But I think the Miami Heat can definitely get this dub tonight against the Golden State Warriors, you guys. You know, it's like I said, any game that Miami plays against Golden State, they're very great games. You got 2 great coaches in Eric Spoelstra and Steve Kerr. You got some great players. It's going to be a great watch tonight. But the question that I pose for you guys in this video, with 12 games left in the season, we're getting ready for playoff time. We're getting ready for the nitty-gritty time. This is the time of the year that Heat fans love, April. We're getting to that point. This Miami Heat season has been very different from a lot of others when we're talking about lineups. We've seen so many different lineups this season with the Miami Heat. As of today, the Miami Heat have played, what? We're going on 71 games. So there's 11 games actually left. In those 71 games, the Miami Heat have had 34 different starting lineups. So that's basically 50% of your season where you have had different starting lineups. This Miami Heat team has not been consistent with lineups all season. So the question that I pose to you guys in this video is our starting power forward position. Now, I know this is the conversation we've talked about before, but now that we're getting to the nitty-gritty time of the playoffs, I want to ask you guys, do we all feel and are we all in agreement that moving into the playoffs, Nikola Jovic, Nico, is the right power forward moving forward? Now, before you answer that question, you guys, we have to remember one thing. The NBA playoffs is a different animal. You're playing against the best of the best teams in the playoffs. But the Miami Heat have not addressed their issue at the starting power forward position. As of recent years since we've lost PJ Tucker, we've put in band-aids on that with guys like Caleb Martin, Haywood Highsmith. At times, Kevin Love would start at the power forward position. And you would really think that, hey, maybe Kevin Love and Bam Adebayo together work well. But in recent time, we've seen that where Kevin Love fits perfectly is the backup center for Bam Adebayo. So that has left us with a few players to throw in the starting power forward spot. Nikola Jovic, Caleb Martin, and Haywood Highsmith. These are 3 names that have been constantly placed in the starting power forward position for the Miami Heat this season. Now, I've named another name. Jaime Jaquez Jr. as the starting power forward going forward into the playoffs. But the more that I've seen Jaime Jaquez and Jimmy Butler play together, the more I see that they're exactly alike. Similar to Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero. And we've addressed this before where we don't like Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero together. So I'm going to make that same argument for Jaime Jaquez and Jimmy Butler. Right now, I feel that it's best for Jaime Jaquez and Tyler Hero to both come off the bench in the playoff time. Because you have two players that play exactly like them in the starting lineup with Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier. You bring those guys to the bench, you plug these two other guys in, and guess what, Heat fans? You can still dominate games with Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier on the bench. That's why I love this roster. You have a lot of guys that are alike and a lot of guys that can do damage. So with that said, we go back to the starting power forward position. The three names that have always been mentioned: Nikola Jovic, Caleb Martin, and Haywood Highsmith. At times, Haywood Highsmith has been a really good answer. In the beginning of the season, we saw Haywood Highsmith starting as the power forward. The Miami Heat went on a 7-game winning streak. I will add that during that 7-game winning streak, the Miami Heat did have favorable matchups, but they still won 7 games straight. But since then, it didn't work. So at times, you put Caleb Martin as the starting power forward. But in my opinion, you guys, I love Caleb Martin for what he does. Caleb Martin this season in 54 games have given you 10.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, 2 assists, almost a steal a game. He is your main Swiss Army knife coming off the bench. If we have a bench of Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Caleb Martin, and Kevin Love, you tell me in the playoffs who has a better bench than that. I can't think of a single team. I love those 4 guys coming off the bench because together they're a cohesive unit. Together, they could be a starting lineup in other teams. So that leaves us with our current starting power forward, Nikola Jovic, who I feel, ladies and gentlemen, is the perfect starting power forward moving in the playoffs. Why? A lot of reasons. But I will say this. In this season, Nikola Jovic has averaged 6.5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists a game, and that's only in 18 minutes of play. If you double those minutes, you're getting about 13 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. That, ladies and gentlemen, is starting numbers. I think if Nikola Jovic is given the opportunity, he will flourish. And the fact that you have a 3-man big rotation of Bam Adebayo, Kevin Love, and Nikola Jovic, who can play the center and the power forward position. You can sprinkle a little Jimmy Butler and Caleb Martin and Haywood Highsmith in the power forward position. I think that's good enough. What were the main things that the Miami Heat were lacking last season in that playoff run? Scoring off the bench and a big man to help you up front. We've answered those solutions this season. As long as we have a healthy roster, Tyler Hero can be that scoring punch off the bench. Jaime Jaquez has delivered us something that we did not have last season, and that could definitely help us in the playoffs. And Nikola Jovic, who last season did not play, has an opportunity to flourish as the starting power forward. And we saw the game against Denver, you guys, that Nikola Jovic out there helped out. And I think lately, Nikola Jovic has upgraded his defense. If you guys have noticed lately, Nikola Jovic has been committing less fouls on the defensive end. That's an upgrade. I've seen him in games have more defensive awareness. His head is finally a swivel. The 3rd game of the season, you guys, Nikola Jovic started for the Miami Heat against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We started going crazy because we saw Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez start together for the very first time. But that game, he pissed Kyle Lowry off because his defense was lacking hugely. Throughout this season, we've seen Nikola Jovic upgrade on the defensive end. I think that a 9-man rotation in the playoffs of Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jovic, Jimmy Butler, 3 men that are all 6'8" and above, good enough. You have Duncan Robinson and Terry Rozier start in the backcourt. This starting rotation works. We've seen it. Then you have Tyler Hero as the 6th man, Caleb Martin and Jaime Jaquez Jr. as your Swiss Army knives off the bench, Kevin Love as your backup big man. You can also sprinkle Haywood Highsmith and DeLon Wright on the defensive end against teams like New York and Milwaukee against Damian Lillard and Jalen Brunson. You can also throw them against guys like Boston. If you need some offensive relief and some three-point scoring, you got Patty Mills ready to help. This Miami Heat roster, ladies and gentlemen, is ready to make some noise in the playoffs. I hope that everything I just told you makes you believe. But I want to ask you, Heat fans, in the playoffs, do you think it's smart to continue to go with Nikola Jovic as a starting power forward? Or do some of you feel, because of experience, Caleb Martin is the best option? Or maybe it's better to throw Jimmy Butler as the starting four, start Duncan Robinson as the small forward, start Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier in the backcourt. Maybe some of you feel that way. I think that's bonkers because defensively that hampers us, but who knows? Maybe there's another optimal lineup. Let me know in the comments what you think, you guys. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Would really help your boy grow this channel. Thank you so much to everyone that supports, likes, and subscribe. I really appreciate y'all. We are Miami Heat Talk Nation. And until next time, your boy Ernest out. That's enough said. Let's go, Heat Nation.